welcome back to another episode of With Sonar. I'm your host, Luke Falasca, and of course, joined by my co-host, Kyle Taylor. We've got a fantastic lineup for you today. We're looking at increasing imports into the Port of Oakland, where there's crazy stories going on around in the news, and of course, we've got a very special guest later on from HNRY Logistics, so stay tuned in just a few minutes for that. But in the meantime, Kyle, it's end of the month, it's May. We're about to come here into the end of the second quarter. A lot of stuff going on here. How you handling
Memorial Day weekend. Come on, let's not forget the best part
about
about this entire thing.
I know.
Monday off.
Monday off. That's the best. Who you take days off?
Clearly.
This guy. Wow.
Clearly taking the days off.
Are you off? There's no time off in transportation. We 365. What are you talking about?
What I've noticed when I made the jump from broker to the technology side, the times that I was usually the busiest are now the times that I'm not.
Yeah.
So these long weekends coming up, it's hard to get a hold of people. People are ignoring all my emails. They're not answering my phone calls. But yeah, it's
they're bogged down.
Yeah,
they're dealing with everything.
Yeah, they're having a brutal week because less supply of trucks. People are wanting specific lanes. We're already seeing that in the tender data. So, but a lot of big changes. What are you doing for anything special? Getting some hot dogs, grilling out.
Going up to the lake.
Going up to the lake.
Yeah. So we're gonna.
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa. Got our lake house guy over here. Don't quit your day job, Mr. Celebrity Luke Falasca here. Always be closing here.
Hey, I just want to tell the viewers, you're the ones that make this possible. I just want to appreciate everything that you do. Appreciate your support. No, I'm kidding. I can't even do that. I can't even say that with a straight face.
You're the reason why he doesn't shave.
We do appreciate your support, but yeah, that's okay, anyways. We're getting off topic here. The point is, Kyle, we've got some interesting things going on here right now. Obviously, we've got some great stuff we're going to dive into. We've got our guest here from HNRY in just a little bit, but there's some news stories going on here. Some
of the most
smuggling going on.
As a child, I loved the mob movies.
Yeah.
My father would always have, Goodfellas, the Godfather trilogy. You'd have the Casino. You got all these different movies that I would always be around. This gives me a little bit of that vibe. Don't know if it's got any connection with the mob, but headline: truckers implicated in multi-million-dollar U.S. to Canada tobacco smuggling ring. So essentially, there's a specific broker. It's not released, and it's not released that anyone has been charged with anything yet, but there was a broker that was using discrete terminology, was kind of sub-brokering things to certain carriers, and they were just bringing up cigarettes and selling them kind of to the black market and then coming back with bags of cash.
Imagine having to smuggle legal goods just to, I'm assuming, to avoid the import or border
taxation is thief.
Yes. Like, if you're going to do that, you may as well just go big and just totally just make the goods you're importing illegal too. Like, I mean, why just to dodge a couple taxes? Like,
but it's
totally JV. But anyways,
I couldn't believe that headline when I read it.
Speaking of smuggling, I just remember back to my smuggling days when I was a teenager. Ooh, we used to smuggle candy into the movie theaters all the time. I was a pro. I probably could have stolen the Mona Lisa if I wanted to.
Might as well have. Deep pockets over here at Luke Falasca.
That's what pays for the lake houses, smuggling candy.
It was the candy from back in the day that really did it for us. But
so it really is. Anyways, one other thing here that we're going to be talking about just a little bit is another headline: the Port of Oakland is becoming the next overflow valve for shippers. A little article written by our own Zach Strickland. And he kind of goes on. I'm actually going to throw this up here real quick. We don't normally throw up screenshots this early, but go ahead and check this one out for you here. I think you'll find it pretty interesting. So the blue line that you're looking at there, that's a 1-year time frame. So as of this morning, that blue line represents the amount of TEUs being imported into the Port of Oakland, and it's displayed as a percent change. That blue line, so you can see here, we're sitting around a 200% increase year over year on imports for the Port of Oakland. So definitely a big overflow port right now. I mean, let's say it again, 200% increase in 1 year.
That's kind of across the board. I mean, when we're looking,
it is across the board. No place is safe, but 200% is insane. Now, what's interesting, that white line there, that forecast, we're forecasting in the next 7 days it's going to go up to 268%, which is unbelievable. And to show you how much that correlates with truckload volume, which we all know, but to give you a number to quantify it with, That green line there down below, truckload volume out of the Port of Oakland, or out of the San Francisco area, which is where the Port of Oakland is, 62% increase year over year.
I mean, the strong correlation of just you have the port volumes coming in, and Oakland is a substantial port. I think there's like 50 vessels that are just sitting in the port right now, just waiting to be offloaded, and so it's dwarfed by the twin ports down south.
Yeah.
LA Long Beach, and they're having the same thing. So what that's telling me is that your shippers are having to get a little bit more creative now. We're having to see people that are needing to find new routes to import their goods, and that's what we're going to see. We're going to see multiple different ports start to heat up. We're already seeing it in the Port of Savannah coming from the East Coast. So a lot of different transitions happening now, because coming from West Coast from China, we're seeing containers like over $200,000 for one container. I mean, the trickle-down effect of just inflation on that is what I'm really interested in seeing. But no, that's
great conversation with our very own lead economist, Anthony Smith. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Folks, we've got a very important guest here that we're joining today, current Sonar customer, but please welcome Ryan Mize, the Director of Truckload Solutions for HNRY Logistics. Ryan, how you doing today?
How you guys doing? I'm probably a little more stressed than you guys are, being on the brokerage side here end of month and with the long weekend. Certainly not going to the lake.
See,
some people go to the lake. Some other people try to just buckle down and get their freight moved.
Okay, it's with the in-laws. Okay, it's a family obligation. All right.
Had to. You're getting your arm twisted here.
Exactly. I'm still gonna have my laptop with me.
Just make sure you drink with a pinky out, man.
There you go.
There you go. All righty. I like it. So Ryan, how are your carrier reps doing right now? How your sales reps doing with end of month, end of quarter, plus the extra volatility? If it wasn't enough already, how they handling everything?
Yeah, they're doing as well as they can. They've got their loads assigned to them, certainly, and capacity shrinking day by day as we get to the end of the week. We try to inject a little bit of stress, especially when you start talking about Friday afternoon. You get carriers falling off because there's high rates posted. So, getting ahead of that is the hard part. But this is the times of the year that you got to dig in extra and make the extra phone calls. So the mantra that I try to push out to these guys is, especially Friday afternoon, deliver good news fast, deliver bad news faster, right? So. Keep our customers on top of things and keep them updated is the name of the game.
No, that's perfect. And so give us a little background here on yourself, Ryan, kind of like what's your focus here? And then, how have you guys really started to, not only going into this week, but how have you guys started to really implement this Sonar data that you guys are using?
Yeah, so we jumped on with Sonar data probably about a year ago. It was a scramble to figure out who has the most updated real-time data when a pandemic's hitting. You certainly, the data out there is trailing, but the great thing with Sonar is, you guys are when the shipment's actually tendered. So I think as far as real time, you guys have been as good as it gets, certainly for us. But really, I try not to oversaturate our carrier sales reps with information. You certainly could do it with Sonar data. I was talking to you guys earlier. I'm looking at, when it comes to flatbed, I've been looking at housing markets and permits and kind of looking at some of those graphs. And that gets super, super granular. So, I don't try to put that out on the floor, but I try to keep it basic with tender rejections versus tender volume is first and foremost that we look at every single morning. A time like this where we're end of the month, going into a long holiday weekend, that green tender rejection line, you start seeing it creep up, indicating tighter capacity. And it's easy to speak to the floor. But the big one that I like our floor to use moving forward is I like the head haul map a lot. It's something that these guys, they have up all day. They're looking at it in their negotiations, and really, the biggest thing that I'm trying to get across to them is be confident with your rates, right? Look at that map, gain confidence in the rate that you're putting forward to the carrier, and continue to sell. Stick to it. If you're looking at a certain market, it should tell you right away if you're going to have to flex or if you should hold strong. So those are the two quick ones right off the bat that
That's a
we're
good
using.
point, Ryan. Yeah, I think, and that's something we've been talking about a lot too. Is confidence, right? Confidence is a tough one to have, especially in this volatile market, right? You can have,
Yeah.
some folks that have a lot of years under their belt, and they know the industry, they know it, they get it, they've seen a lot, and then all of a sudden you throw this crazy pandemic by record high volumes, record high projections, the amount of volatility, it's insane, and all of a sudden, some of that experience, while still incredibly valuable, they can't necessarily point to that as much to quantify what's happening, I guess. So to speak to that confidence, I guess, how do you take that information and kind of give it to them in a way that's like, how do you make somebody trust the information to give them that confidence when they're making a decision?
Well, you almost gotta micromanage the board. We look for loads that, we're buying under the market that we can point directly back to the information that we're giving to them. And so that's something I have my managers do. Look at the stuff that's covered today. Let's figure out some of the loads where we know it correlates directly to this sonar data. What you want is, ideally a bulk of your load board all correlates, right? But there are special instructions, special circumstances with loads that kind of throw things off. But it's really getting deep into a load by load case and showing them, listen, this was the mindset that we put forward looking at this data. This is where you stood strong and you stood your ground, and you may have let the carrier off the phone, knowing they're probably going to call back, and here was the result. And you trusted your gut, you trusted the data we put in front of you. Those are the ones that we try to celebrate every day, a couple times throughout the day. We had our town hall meeting yesterday, which was an all company meeting. We certainly celebrate, people that are buying under the market, buying right, doing the extra things with the tools that we have. But, sonar is one of the bigger ones. And, to your point, you're talking about market volatility, and, Henry is, we're the fifth operating arm. We're the truckload brokerage for Yellow Corp, which was YRC Worldwide. We reverted back to the Yellow name, which is very exciting news. We reverted back in February. We're only 4 years old, this brokerage. We have a huge customer base at our hands over at the LTL side, but a lot of the reps that we have over here, and our pricing department does a fantastic job because they're in it. But we have some people in the pricing department that haven't been through a normal truckload year, that a bulk of their time at HNRY Logistics has been in a pandemic. And then we come out of a pandemic and all of a sudden, polar vortex hits. We get out of that vortex in February. Now we're into March, and then here comes DOT week. Here comes, we got another shakeup here, Memorial Weekend, long weekend. So, it's always being on our toes.
Yeah, Amazon Day coming up now in summertime, I think they just announced. So just right when we thought summer was going to loosen up a little bit.
Yeah. And, I think the biggest thing when you talk about market volatility, and I'm looking at the map, being able to click into the granular data of each market. The tough thing about the pandemic was different states and different cities, different markets, they operated differently with COVID regulations and who's locked down and who's not. And we start to see it come through the sonar data, and it helped us get ahead, when we needed to, especially with carrier rates. So
that's a good point here, Ryan. So something that I've gone ahead and pulled up on the screen here in front of us is the market as a whole, right? And we see the market, obviously it's up and to the right, and that's great. But what the screen that's going on there in front of you there, you have where that up and to the right is really having the most effect in which areas of the country, to have a little bit more strategic play, if you will. So you've got the volatility markets there on the left, obviously, and then the map on the right, and the blue colors there are where capacity is the tightest. And that's really, if you're a carrier rep, I mean, that's great. It's good to know where you're pulling a truck out of and where you're sending the truck to, so you can figure out really quickly if you have the advantage or if you're doing the truck a favor. So, probably if you're pulling a truck out of a blue market, it may not be the worst thing in the world to take one of those first available trucks if you're pulling a truck out of the red markets, you should have a few more options. You could probably be a little more patient to wait for the, just the right truck.
Yeah, and I mean, the volatility chart to the left there is probably my favorite, just because it is a little bit more data-centric. It's Excel style, so being able to just filter the
What do you know
column
about
headers.
Excel?
I just know that it's green, there's cells, and there's numbers. That's all we know.
But green's the color of money.
Yeah, that's all that matters. And so to be able to just go like, okay, we're getting into this short week, or this shortened weekend ahead of us. Show me where these tender rejections are, and that's how I've always represented it. So when you go to tell your team like this week every morning, when you send a screenshot of that, what is some of your messaging around? Is it like cover early, lose fast? Like how do you support the message that you're sending out to your carrier team?
Yeah, and again, I try to keep it as simple as I can, because this is a show designed to dive into it. And I don't want to overwhelm the group, but it's exactly what you just said. I mean, it's as simple as blue and red markets. Darker blue market, tighter capacity, red, exactly, Luke, what you said, sit back a little bit, make a few extra phone calls. But I like to also, I like the market share column over there as well, because you do see a little bit of change, especially when produce comes along. It really starts to shake up, and that's pretty much it. It's just telling these guys, if you're going into Los Angeles right now, stay aggressive with your rate, and let these carriers know, hey man, you're going to a market where you're going to have brokers calling you all day when you post a truck. You get to sit back and shop it. So again, keeping it simple is what we like to do here. Let them ask questions and dive in deeper as they need to. Each rep is different. Each have a different confidence level. And we like to play to that.
So how much has this information maybe trickled over to your customer side, or when you're actually talking to the shippers that you work with, when you're trying to convey a message of, hey, we are going to have to pay higher, or hey, here are some of these conditions that we're facing?
Yeah, I think that that goes down to when you're looking at the tree maps. We look at the outbound tender volume for one. Take a little bit of information there. I'd say a majority of my conversation with the sales side does revolve around that tender rejections, because typically we see rates follow that tender rejection line, right? If it's dropping down, we can buy a little better. If it's going up, expect rates to go up. So, that's across the nation. I do like to look at it, down into regions and into specific markets. Every brokerage has kind of, they have markets that they're, more dense in than other brokerages. And, the number of markets that we have here, those are the ones that I like to highlight and keep a close eye on.
Gotcha. No, that's phenomenal. And I'm a big fan of the tree maps as well. And it just gives you, especially when you start adding some of these filters into it, you can really make it really easy to see what you need to see. Okay, I can see my largest heavy hitters to the top left, and then coming down to the bottom right, I see more of those lower markets. So it really allows me to just see what I need to see really quickly. So
right.
Definitely kudos to you for that one. And so as we start to progress throughout the year, is there any other opportunities that you see you using this information in, or how do you expand on what you're doing now throughout the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, one of the initiatives we have is, getting a bigger lasso around refrigerated business. So, utilizing the tree map for refrigerated trucks. Throughout the year, it's kind of, again, we're a young brokerage and we pivot pretty quickly. So, I think I know what the rest of the year looks like for us. I certainly know I'm not ditching any of the data that I've explained to you guys today. But I try to meet with Jessica Hale, once a month or once every other month. And she uncovers a lot of stuff for us. The head haul map, she uncovered that for us. The amount of data that's in Sonar it's almost overwhelming at times. So, it's really whatever you guys are recommending and kind of what we stumble across. So.
All right, I got a little fun one for us to take a look at. So basically, we're going to look at a tree map of tender rejections. So let's go ahead and throw it up for everybody to see. And just to explain, for those who haven't looked at a tree map before, it looks like a lot, but it's actually pretty simple once you get down to it. Basically, the top left, those are the markets that have the greatest value, in this case, tender rejections. So Cedar Rapids has a score of 54% of all loads tendered are being rejected right now. All the way down to the bottom right is kind of your lowest value. And you're looking right around, I guess, a little over 5% there in Montana being rejected. So, and then kind of everything in the middle in between. And then the colors, the green colors represent an increase day over day. The red colors represent a decrease day over day. So it's kind of the daily change. Now here's where things get interesting. We'll look at the 1 year chart to see how many of these are green and how many are red. Any guesses? Literally
Show me the money.
All green. Whoops, let's get rid of that. Every single market is green year-over-year increase. Unbelievable. Now, some markets are just, only a little bit green. They may only be up like 10%, 20%, that kind of thing. But look, Lubbock, Texas, I don't know what's going on over there. They're up 3,500% year-over-year, which means they were probably like next to nothing a year ago.
Right.
But unbelievable. It's crazy seeing some of those gains. Even in some of the larger markets, like, Jacksonville's not super small. They're up 500%, which is pretty incredible when you think about it. Savannah, Georgia's up 650%. Rock Island's up over 600%. I mean, you got some of these larger markets here that are doing okay. I mean, that's pretty impressive when you think about how much the market has moved. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen moves like that. This rivals Dogecoin right here. I think it's probably the simplest way to say it.
Well, Doge is, just crypto in general has had a little bit of a decline in the past couple of weeks. Great buying opportunities.
Great buying opportunity. Not financial advice, of course, but great
no
buying
financial advice here.
Theoretically, a great buying opportunity.
If I was theoretically putting money somewhere, I may theoretically put it there.
Right, I might. In fact, might have to go sell the lake house.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, mom and dad, hey, can you go ahead and sell that for me so I can throw it into Doge?
We don't need that anymore.
No, that's great. So, Ryan, big crypto fan?
I know nothing about it. Okay. I haven't dove into it, but I enjoy hearing people talk about it and how their moods swing and a day about it. I enjoy that part.
That is so true.
We got a neighbor that put a sign in their front yard, a huge billboard they made themselves, talking about the next Bitcoin halving or something like that. How many days until it was? And I didn't file a complaint, but somebody did. So.
Those dang HOAs, they'll get you every time.
Wasn't me.
Oh, geez, no, that's hilarious. Well, awesome. Well, anything, that if someone wanted to reach out to you and, learn more about HNRY and kind of what your operation is or wanted to work with you, how would they do so?
Yeah, certainly connect with me on LinkedIn. We have job opportunities at HNRY Logistics all over HNRY Logistics, we're in office here in Kansas City, but Yellow Corp, we have job opportunities all over the nation. If you'd like to reach out to me directly, certainly again through LinkedIn or email me, ryan.mize@henrylogistics.com. And that's Henry without an E. That's an acronym for Holland New Pen, Redaway, and YRC Freight, our other brokerage, or our LTL arms rather. So reach out to me that way. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Very insightful, and we're so happy to have you on.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys having me on, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Have a great long holiday weekend.
Yeah, we'll try not to work too much.
Will do, yeah. We fortunately don't have to worry about trucks falling off on our end.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Those days. What a guy, Ryan Mize. What a stud.
I remember when I heard about HNRY for the first time, I was like, wait, all of these LTL guys came together and made a brokerage? That just makes so much sense.
Yeah. It does. It's fantastic. And it's specifically a full truckload brokerage.
Right.
I mean, they have so many customers. It's a great way. I mean, they've scaled up. They've become one of the largest brokers actually in the nation. Right. In just 4 years. Don't quote me, but I think they're already in the top 50.
Probably.
And they're growing quick. They're going to keep climbing that list pretty quickly. They're doing a lot of good stuff over there. So yeah.
Awesome.
Great to have them.
For all of you out there that maybe didn't get to catch it last week, we got some new stuff in Sonar.
We get some new stuff in Sonar.
We finally, hate to say finally, because we always we had it, we just didn't put it in the right area, but in our lane signal and lane scorecard applications, we have now added the reefer functionality. So not only were you before able to see our van predictive rating tool along with all of that tender data in one shot, you now have the ability to swap it to reefer so that you can see, okay, let me get that same great insights for what's going to happen down the road, 1 month, 3 months, 6 month, 9 month, a year out, and never leave that screen. And let's go ahead and while Luke kind of gets that set up, that was just one of those things that I know I always wanted to, and I was like, why don't we have this?
To clarify, we had the data,
yes.
Just the functionality wasn't built out. And technically, some of the reefer stuff, it was in beta for a while. It was released to some customers, but yeah, now it's kind of the full release, kicking and rocking. Here we go. So I'll go ahead and throw this up on the screen for everybody just to see. So as an example, right? You can type in any lane you want to type in, right? We're going from, oh goodness, I don't know. Let's say we're going from Atlanta to, where do we want to go? We want to go to Chicago, sure, right? Because that lane never moves. Rural area here. Obviously, you've got all your stuff here. You've got your pricing. You've got your capacity map right here.
Freight never goes on that.
Freight never goes. Come on. There's nothing going on in these areas. You've got your pricing. You've got your week over week change. You've got your forecast here in the bottom. A lot of good stuff on this page. You've got signals to kind of give you an idea on how attractive or unattractive a lane is. But this is the van side. With the click of a button, boom, everything flips to reefer.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom.
We got refrigerated data.
And the dummy in the room here who doesn't do a lot of reefer, or didn't do a ton of reefer. I did have one reefer customer that I did move back in my brokerage days. I kind of assumed, reefer is always more expensive, but it's actually not true. Reefer is expensive in about 85% of lanes as we've continued to dive into the data. Only about 15% of lanes are actually cheaper than van, which isn't much. I mean, obviously, nearly 9 times out of 10, reefer is going to be more expensive than van. But I kind of just always assumed, it's always more expensive. But there are some one-off opportunities or situations where that's not the case, interestingly enough.
No, definitely. And so that's just then going to add a little bit more, add a quiver to your hat, add a little tool in your toolbox, throw your best phrase here. And now this gives those brokers and shippers and carriers really at that transactional level, at just validating one-off decisions, that ability to just bounce from, now I'm dealing from reefer, now I'm going back to van, just from a simple toggle.
It gives, especially as a broker, it gives a broker the ability to be an expert in not just van, but also reefer now, because they have so much information at their disposal. So even if they don't have that experience, they can still always be closing them reefer customers.
And forecasting and seeing what's going to happen in the future before it even hits you in the face.
Closing. Okay.
Oh, please don't do it.
I'm going to do it.
Please don't do it.
I'm going to do it. So I got some custom Nikes here. Right there. You probably can't.
Where does it say it on there?
It says it right there. You can't see it. It's way too small. But the point is, it says ABC with a bunch of money signs right there. I got that express for all of you.
Yes. So Luke, he did what his job was told. His description. He sold some deals and
first time ever.
Yeah, for the first time this year. Might not do it this month. So
probably
we'll see.
Won't. I'm done for the year. I'm retired.
So. Our thank you to Spencer in finance, our CFO.
Thank you to me. I'm the one who did the work. I'm the one who closed the deals.
Yeah.
Go, Luke.
Yeah, literally. So you give Luke one option. You say, hey, here's what we got, tier ones. You custom shoes. What are you going to put on there? Always be closing. ABC. And that's exactly what you did. When you told me that, I couldn't believe that's what you were putting on there.
I can't believe it. Of course I was going to do that. What else is I going to do with the shoes?
Dude, it's not, those are all right. What really?
Listen, nobody
these
even cares.
bad boys, limited edition.
Okay,
UNC.
Nobody wants to see that.
Oh, Michael Jordan is going to be.
Nobody wants to see that.
Dude, the 6'5" just whop right over your. I don't even know if he's 6'5". He might be 6'3". But now Kyle's got one shoe on his foot.
I think he's 6'6". That just kind of seems like
standard.
Yeah, 6.5. That just seems like what he would be.
No, but
could be wrong. Somebody look it up.
Look it up. But next week, we're going to be back with a little bit more data. We're going to be seeing what's happened since this long weekend, what has occurred with freight. My expectations, probably see lead time shorten up next week.
We'll
will see demand go up, rejections go down.
Have a great week, everybody. Enjoy the holiday. We'll see you next week.